Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council. It is Monday, November 2nd, 2020, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Herrera.
Here.
Councilor Parsons.
Here.
Councilor Smith.
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Here.
Council President Freeman.
Here.
Councilor Reed.
Here.
And Councilor Kohler.
He is excused this evening for family. Thank you very much. If you are able, would you please rise and would you all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. It is a pleasure this evening, under special orders of business, to swear in 3 new police officers for the city of Keizer. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief Teague. All right, come on up, guys. I'm happy to introduce 2 new hires to you and 1 old hire, I guess we'll call him. That's good. You guys can drop your masks so they can see what you look like. This is Trenton Webb. Raise your hand there, Trenton. He was actually hired in May, but due to all the then new COVID-19 rules, we didn't bring those guys in, but I want you to get a look at him. He was reserved for us for a while and really impressed us. We ended up hiring him full time. Tim Hine is on my far right. He's a 10-year officer from Silverton Police Department, recently promoted to sergeant. Was a longtime motor officer before that. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice from Western Oregon University, as well as intermediate and advanced certification from DPSST. Because he's already certified, Tim will not have to go to the Basic Police Academy and will go through a modified FTEP program before going solo, which should happen within about a month, if not sooner. We just hired him October 26th. Cody Stoop fell in the middle. Has a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from Corbin University. He officially resigned his commission earlier this year after 10 years in the Army National Guard. He was a medical vac pilot on the Black Hawk helicopter, a combat veteran, right? As a new officer, he'll need to attend the 16-week Basic Police Academy. He was hired the 27th of October. And these are 3 great guys. We continue to hire just outstanding people. And Mayor, I'm happy to present them to you and the councilors. City Attorney.
Thank you, Chief. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the State of Oregon, the laws and ordinances of the City of Keizer, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of police officer in and for the City of Keizer to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I know in the past we have had been able to shake your hands, but under current regulations, that's not something we probably would do at this time. Do you have family members with you? And would you be willing to go to the microphone and let us know who's with you? Because we know that public service is not an individual thing, but it's a family undertaking. And we appreciate your service, but we also appreciate the service of your families. So the microphone's right there so people will be able to hear you.
In order of height.
I hear how this one's going to go.
This is my wife, Katie. She's a teacher. We've been married for 7 years. Wouldn't have done this without her support. Been in law enforcement, like the chief said, for 10 years. And she's been with me the whole way, so appreciate her.
Yeah. Thank you.
My wife, my 3 daughters,
Oh,
Kelly, Adeline, little Meredith, and Tegan. Again, they are my support, my rock. My wife's been with me through the military service and now this, and we are equally excited for the new
the new adventure and the challenge that it will present. And my folks, Mom and Dad.
And thank you for your service to our nation and the military. We appreciate that as well.
So this is my wife Hannah, our son Grant, who just turned 1, and then also my father-in-law is Canine Officer Jefferson. So it's a great pleasure to be able to serve with him, and then my wife is a 911 dispatcher. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you again, and we appreciate the work that you do to keep our community safe and to help make sure that people feel safe in our community, all people. Thank you so much. Keizer police officers and their families. One more. We'll go on now to item 5, committee reports, and we'll start off with the appointments to the Keizer Points of Interest Committee, Budget Committee, Stormwater Advisory Committee, Parks Advisory Board, and Youth Committee Liaison for the Arts Commission. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Volunteer Coordinating Committee met on October 15th, 2020 to review applications and interview candidates for openings on various committees. The committee is recommending the following applicants for appointments. Youth Committee Liaison, Arts Commission, Isabella Biondi, to serve the remainder of the term beginning immediately and ending May 30th, 2021. Keizer Budget Committee, Hirsch Sangster, for position number 5, term beginning immediately and ending August 31st, 2023. Keizer Parks Advisory Board, Dustin Karstetter to fill the remainder of the term for position number 7, beginning immediately and ending December 31st, 2021. And Clay Rushton, David Loudon, and Matthew Poteet for positions 4 through 6, respectively, terms beginning January 1st, 2021 and ending December 31st, 2023. Keizer Points of Interest Committee, Bob Bush and David Loudon for positions 3 and 4, terms beginning December 1st, 2020 and ending November 30th, 2023. And Stormwater Advisory Committee, Natalie Janey for position number 7, term beginning January 1st, 2021 and ending December 31st, 2023. It is recommended City Council accept this recommendation of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and appoint the applicants as outlined previously. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report? Okay, hearing none. Are any of the people who are recommended for appointment here this evening? If you would you please stand?
Yeah, Matthew's here.
Matthew's here, Bob's here. Anybody else? So on behalf of the city, thank you for stepping up to volunteer. It is the committees that are so important in bringing together great ideas and then bringing well-informed recommendations to council. Thank you so much for volunteering. Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council accept the recommendations of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and appoint the applicants as outlined in our memo and read by the City Manager.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the recommendations of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and appoint the applicants as outlined in the memo read by the City Manager. Further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 1 absent. This takes us then to, is there anybody here from a committee that is going to do a report? I don't have anybody on a blue sheet sign up for that, but I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Going once, twice, okay. Then let's go on then to a public testimony. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have no public hearings scheduled this evening. And I'm going to start off with Kathy Lincoln to talk to us about Wallace House Park. And on deck will be Danielle Bethel to talk about Keizer holiday events.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council. I'm here tonight. I'm a member of the West Keizer Neighborhood Association, and also I live very close to Wallace House Park. And a couple of months ago, we were quite surprised to hear the brush cutter come in and bushwhacker, whatever it is, and practically took all of the vegetation except for the trees off of, I don't know, 3 or 4 acres. It's a big area. It took a lot of habitat away from a lot of animals and stuff, and we thought that there might be a plan to replant, but I don't know. Fortunately, the Claggett Creek Watershed Council and Matt Lawyer came to the rescue. He gathered some seedlings and seed and volunteers, and we came together on a Saturday, including Mayor Clark, and planted some seedlings around one of the drainage areas, and some other folks spread grass seed around, and I checked recently, and the grass is growing, and the seedlings are doing well, except for the ones that the deer have clipped off a little bit. But I guess my issue here, or my question is, why wasn't there more of a plan from the city to replant and take care of that area before the water came up? Because it was pretty much denuded of vegetation, and when the water comes up, a lot of that was going to get washed away with erosion. So thank goodness for Claggett Creek to get some grass growing in there, but I'm hoping that there are some plans for the future to take care of the park and get it replanted appropriately. I hope so. And I know they're already putting some bark chip paths through there, which is good. I don't know. We'll see how they look at the end of the winter when the water comes down. But I also know that the park plan, master plan, is being re-looked at, and we of course want to be notified and be a part of that as much as we can, and hope that there are some more plans for Wallace House Park.
Well, on the last piece, absolutely yes. Everybody's going to be included in the Parks Master Plan update. We're going to be wanting to get input from people on amenities, improvements across the board at all 19 parks. So that's already a yes. And we'll be definitely doing a lot of outreach there. Mr. Laurie, do you want to talk about Wallace House Park and the projects going on there, please?
Well, let me begin by saying we took advantage of an opportunity of a contractor to clear out overgrown brush at Wallace House Park. I'm sure you're aware we've had homeless camping issues down there for many, many years. We had the contractor, we gave him the authority or authorization to go in and give us a couple days worth of work. We didn't expect him to be able to do as much in 2 days as he did, which is a good thing. I mean, more for our money than we expected. After talking about it some more, decided to have him go ahead and try and give him, I think we gave him another day and a half to see how much more he could do. He ended up finishing basically the whole lower bench of that park. Our plan as far as replanting is to just wait. We want to wait and see what comes back on its own, see what kind of invasives come back, what kind of, so what I'm looking for. Native plants come back, and then from there develop a plan on how to encourage the natives and discourage the invasives. So we don't have a planting plan in place yet. We want to wait and see what comes back. And as far as the master plan process goes, we will be reaching out to all the neighborhood associations directly, youth sports organizations, school district, many organizations and agencies throughout the area, as well as the public. That outreach is going to start probably around the 1st of December. The consultant just started work on that last week on the process. And so they'll give them a month to acquire data, visit all the parks, inventory what they see, kind of get an idea of what we have, review the current master plan, and then seek input from the public. So.
Okay, thanks. I know that there was someone in there just the other day spraying the blackberries and English ivy. At least I hope that's all they were spraying.
Yeah, spot spraying some of the invasives that are coming back that we can see now. It's a great time of year to get the blackberries and the ivy. But again, we want to wait and let the natives come back, if there are any in there. It's hard to say. And then develop a plan around that.
Yeah, we'll see how it looks next spring.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Danielle, Keizer holiday events. It's November. Here we go.
It is November. I'm sorry I don't have any bells on today. So, we're not having a holiday light parade. I know, let's start off with the bad news. COVID-19's really created a bunch of challenges for everybody in the country, and our small town is not any different from that. And because we bring about 50,000 folks a year to Keizer for that parade, it made the most sense to postpone it until 2021. And I anticipate next year's parades to be bigger and better than ever. So mark your calendars now, because we're going to need all the help we can get to wrangle all of the excited folks. But that's why I'm here. So the one event we can do is still our tree lighting. We still plan to host that event, and we're going to do it virtually. And I'm hoping that the City Council will consider my request to reallocate some of the funds that you approved us in the earlier part of the year for our budget for the Holiday Lights Parade to the tree lighting, which is just the K23 line item. We'd very much like to get that activity on the television as well as our social media platforms. It's pretty expensive, and you have already put that money in the bank basically for us to have the TV channel at the light parade. That's not going to happen. I emailed Tim earlier today to verify that that was a portion of the line item, and he did confirm that. The parade overall has about a $7,500 budget allocation on behalf of the city in partnership with the chamber to host the parade. And it's a few $100s, I think, at the end of the day for the television. So I'm hoping that you can look at that and say yes, so we can have the TV come down. It's scheduled for Tuesday, December 1st. We plan to have the television start at 6:15, and we confirmed with Santa that he would be available. We're working out his transportation details. Because of COVID, we want to make sure everybody, including his elves, are safe in that process. The tree should be lit approximately 6:30. We're also going to have Beth Melody from the Keizer Arts Commission come down and announce the winner of the holiday card that she's been doing the last few years. We do have children that are going to light the tree with Santa. Try to give everybody as best feels possible through the television that we would normally have in person. But again, it's virtual, so the community will not be invited to come down for that hour and receive cider and cookies with us, unfortunately, this year. So if you can consider that. And then I just wanted to give you a few other date details for other events, unless you want to talk about that.
So press pause. City Manager, what will that take?
Concurrence by the council, we'll just do it.
Any objections? No objections.
Perfect. Okay. Then the other couple of dates to take note of is Mr. Christmas, Dave Wallery, and his volunteer elves are going to be putting up the street lights on 11/22. And usually we have law enforcement support for traffic control with that. So bright and early, we'll come out, hit River Road about 4:30 a.m. and get up all the street light decorations on that Sunday morning so everybody can enjoy them for the holiday season. I see Councilor Freeman smiling.
Earlier every year.
It does get earlier every year. That's what he said, originally, but it'll probably bump up to like 6:30 by the time the 22nd gets here. So for all the folks that help in the usual way, we'll make sure you're notified of that arrival time, and I'm sure Dave will call you directly. And then we have the Keizer Network of Women's Giving Basket Program is in full swing. If you were able to participate in the Percy event, thank you. It was a huge success, done virtually. We raised several $1,000s as we do each year. And this year, Corey Filardo, who came with me, she's over there, she put in a huge effort to get businesses to sponsor kids or teachers to participate in that virtual event, so that way we could make up some of the lost money from not having the in-person event. But there's still a big need. We're expecting a lot more kids than years past. Right now we're planning on 250 families that we'll be serving. It'll cost us approximately $48,000 to cover all of those families between the tags and the food boxes that we give out. And starting on Monday, you can pick up the giving tags at a variety of locations: St. Edward's Church, Courthouse Athletic Club, Mommy and Maddie's, Willamette Valley Bank Keizer, Copycats Keizer, Los Dos Hermanos Keizer, Keizer Liquor Store, Celtic Self-Storage, Keizer Liquor Store, and there was one more, Physique Fitness, and Columbia Bank. So all the tags are submitted to us, all the students are submitted to us through counselors and CSOC coordinators of all of our local area schools in the Keizer area. So if there's families in need that know that they're going to need their children taken care of, please reach out to your school counselor or CSOC, and they'll get you on the list. There's a bunch of questions to answer, so that way we can get the needs and wants of your kiddos met. And then we write those, we transfer that information to actual tags, and those tags are hung on those community giving trees at those various locations. And then at the end, on December 4th, is when those tags are due back. If there's a leftover amount of tags unfilled, then we transition into utilizing the money we fundraise from Percy to cover the cost of all of those tags, to make sure no kiddo's tag goes unfilled. So we hope that folks will come out and help us. There's activities that we are still presenting to the community for support. You can come and sort food on Wednesday, December 9th at 6 p.m. COVID compliant safety regulations will be enforced, so you'll need to wear masks, and there'll be sanitizer and such available, and social distancing. And then gift wrapping will happen on Thursday, December 10th. And Santa Central is located this year in the Keizer Shopping Center. So Keizer Village Shopping Center, right next door to Chicken Shack. Where the martial arts studio used to be before they moved, it's in that location. The address is 3842 River Road North. And all this information is on the Keizer Chamber website and the Keizer Chamber Facebook page, because I gave you a whole bunch of information. Yes. Does anybody have any questions?
Still trying to take notes. But I know we'll get all this also on Facebook, social media, and so forth. First of all, thank you. We know that families have been severely affected this year. When there are needs in this community, we want to make sure that all of our kiddos are taken care of and their families feel supported. And thank you for working in collaboration with the teachers and the schools who know the needs of our kids. And if there's ways that we can continue to reach out to families or find out if there are kids that need assistance and haven't said something or didn't know that they could, we definitely want to make sure that we get them taken care of as well. So thank you for spearheading that and making sure that we take care of our kids.
Absolutely. Thanks for being our partner through all these things throughout the year. It's really important to us. Have a great night.
It's a community. All right. Thank you so much, Danielle. Yep. And Corey, thank you. Paula, our library. I love how you tell about people who have come to our library, but this year they can't. But you've still taken care of people anyway.
We're trying. Take me a second here.
And while she's coming up here, there is an annual report. This will be posted online for folks to be able to download. Is this on the library website?
Yes, it's on our Facebook and Twitter under Keizer Library. It's Keizer Community Library when it's on Facebook, and it's Keizer Library on Twitter. So you can find it there. We're very proud of this. It's our first attempt at pulling our information together for people to see what we're about and what we're trying to do. So we're very pleased and proud, and that's why all of you have a hard copy so you can look at it. I hope you enjoy it. Also, there's a lot of things that we're trying to do right now. One of the things is providing books and things for kiddos, especially during the summer and now, when a lot of them are at home and needing new inspiration. So 2 days a week, providing that we have volunteers to do so. We have availability of books to families. All they have to do is call the library at, and I have to look, 503-390-2370. Leave a message and a phone number. That's important. We'll get back to you and make an arrangement so that if you have any, all we need is the child's age, and we can gather some books for you and check them out. We're not charging any fees, no late fines, nothing. We're just providing everything for free for people. They can also call us for the same purposes to drop off books, which we're still getting a lot of, And also, if an adult wishes to call us and leave their name and number and tell us the author they're interested in, we'll look up books under that author and call the person back and make arrangements. We will bring the books to your car, or you can come to the back door of the Heritage Building and ring a doorbell, and somebody will bring it to you that way. There's lots of ways we can do that, but we're trying to stay active and involved with people as much as we possibly can, so that right now it's very tough, and a lot of kids especially, they need a lot of imagination and creative activities to participate in, and so this is our way of doing that for them. One of the things, of course, is we are without any funds, so we're very, 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 very thankful to you for allowing us to use the lobby of the building. With Kristen's help, we arranged all the tables so that everybody was socially distant, everybody was safe. We had we had tried to have more book sales, but we could only arrange one with the volunteers and the time available the first weekend in October, and we raised $1,538, which when you consider that books were 50 cents or $1 a piece, that was a lot of folks and a lot of books. We're very, very pleased with that. We also have what we're doing now is called a bag of books. So you can call us and say you want a bag of mystery books. We'll put them together for you. You call us on the phone, we'll come out to the curb, you give us $5 and we'll give you a bag of books. Just that easy, that quick. It's really fun. You cannot believe the people that are calling and what they want. Some of the times we're amazed at what they're asking for. And yes, it's all above board and all, appropriate.
Glad you clarified.
So we're very, very pleased with that. We do have some unique folks that come to our book sales, and I usually always have a story, but this one I hope I get right. This person came and bought and found a book. I don't know how they do this in the thousands of books we have, but he has a friend. His niece is the granddaughter of the husband of the woman that wrote the book that he found.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. And I had to write all that down, and I had to go over that tonight to make sure I remembered it correctly, because those kinds of things come up all the time, and it's amazing. We make connections with people over the most unique things. We also had a voter registration drive at the book sale. We're very pleased to say we had a good response with that. We were very happy to see so many folks, especially they had questions about people new to the area. How do they do it? Where do they go? We had to show them where the drop box was, that kind of thing. So that was kind of a side that we did, but we were very, very pleased with that. We also had a very successful summer reading program. Again, for kiddos who haven't been in school for a while, it was really tough. So what we did is every Monday, we had a volunteer at the back of the Heritage Building there to keep a log book for all the children that were reading. And at the end of the summer, we couldn't have a pizza party like we've had in the past. So we had a little bag of treats for them, including a free pizza at Round Table and just little gift cards and things like that they could take home and use, along with bookmarks and all the good things that we do with books, activities for the parents to do with their kids. We also had virtual stories with Summer earlier for the little kids on our computer program so that the little kids could get that kind of fun and activity. So we're doing what we can. We're hoping that we can do more. We're also hoping we can have another book sale in May. We're hoping, we're crossing our fingers, and we're waiting for the governor to say libraries can open, because we've had lots of folks saying we really miss. The word we use is Keizer Community Library, and the reason we do that is we are with the community, and for some folks the library is that connection, and we want to keep that going. We're doing the best we can. So again, thank you for letting us use the library. It was really, really welcome, and so many people were happy to see it. It was really fun. So, any questions?
Thank you so much. Councilor Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to congratulate Paula. All the work you've done over the years is amazing, and I'm so grateful that this is very impressive.
Oh, thank you. We're very pleased. We're very proud of it.
I want to especially thank you for including the youth in that one section. I know Linda Llanos is a sister of Crystal, one of our.
There you go.
One of our honorees, and so is Angel, people that we've mentored, and that's so awesome that you include the young people. That is so awesome. I mean, that is great. I think every group should have representation of the people they serve, and you are showing by example.
Well, thank you so much for noticing that. We do have our youth member on our board, and they are
Yes, I know.
voting members.
Voting members.
They come
I
and
read
they
all the whole
vote
thing.
right along with everybody else, and they give us some insights that we would never have thought of. And I mean, that's what part of the start for us about the bag of books. The kids come up with these ideas, and they're great, and it's been wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
I have one.
Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Paula, to give you a kudos. My mom had books to drop off because I neglected to follow through on my duties to figure that out. She's watching, so I can say that. But she was really appreciative of someone ringing the back door, and actually someone coming out and getting, I think she probably had 2 or 3 bags of books for the book sale, because she is an avid reader and wants the books to go to another avid reader. So I just want to say thank you to the volunteers who are making it really easy for people to bring books and just all the extra things. And for someone who's been on council almost 8 years, this is fabulous. And I think will be helpful when it is budget time, just to see how our money is being spent and all the things that you do. Even though you do give us a great report, it's nice to actually see something.
Thank you. That really
formal.
appreciate that. And we
So thank
also, if someone needs it and they can't bring the books to us, if they call the phone number I mentioned, 503-390-2370, make sure I get it right, we will come to them and pick up the books as well. If somebody has difficulty getting around, especially with COVID around and all the limitations that are out there, and people having physical limitations, we're finding that sometimes that's the only way, and we're happy to do what we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And, right now with so many kids having more time at home, having good reading material is just, like you said, it's wonderful for the imagination and to keep them going. The language development, I mean, you can't overdo it with reading to kids. It is so vitally important.
Yes, we agree. Thank you. Anyone
Thank
else?
you so much. And people want to volunteer. Right now, there's kind of limited opportunities, but when you are reopened, it'll be a great opportunity to come down and volunteer at our community library.
Yes, we could still use volunteers even now. Again, we have to man those days when we are available for people. So if anybody wishes to call us, they can look us up on Facebook. They can look us up on Twitter. And we also have another webpage. It's called info, I-N-F-O, at keizerlibrary.org. So if they want to contact us that way as well. But we are still looking for volunteers all the time.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got several people that want to talk about value statements, inclusion, and so forth. I'll remind everybody that we will have a work session next Monday, talking specifically about input regarding our inclusion values statement. But I welcome your comments tonight as well, but it's helpful if you can put some things in writing that we'll be able to look at those between now and next Monday. That said, I'm just going to go through the list, so your turn to talk, our turn to listen. Sarah Grantham, you're up first. No, there's no particular order, it's just the ones that I got handed. And on deck, Courtney Clendenning. And if you would just state your name and your city of residence for the record. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Grantham. I live in Keizer. Thank you for having me. I did put on my question that I would like to talk a little bit about the value statement, and I understand the work session, but the first thing I would like to request is that the title be addressed and use the word equity. We really need to be upfront, not hide behind the language, and make a firm statement that we're choosing equality, that we're welcoming. So I also, after watching the last few sessions at home, would really like you all to consider when someone is sharing their experience of racism, that you listen. You just listen. If you don't live in a body that has brown skin, your experience is not going to be the same. And for us to understand, we need to stop talking and we need to listen. So that's what I have observed in the community. And as our leaders, I would really like to request that you listen to people's experiences. And when you have questions, pause and listen some more. So that's all I have, but thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Courtney Clendenning, and on deck is Betty Hart.
Hi, Madam Mayor. My name's Courtney Clendenning, and I live in Keizer, Oregon. Madam Mayor and members of the council, I'm here today out of deep concern over the discussion that took place last week regarding the draft of the inclusivity value statement. I'm deeply concerned that after Councilor Herrera suggested the statement include denouncing white supremacy, he was faced with a barrage of reasons not to include it. Councilor Reed suggested that not all people have the same definition of white supremacy. According to Merriam-Webster, white supremacy is the belief that the white race is inherently superior to other races and that white people should have control over people of other races. White supremacy is the social, economic, and political systems that collectively enable white people to maintain power over people of other races. The fact that people carry different definitions of white supremacy is part of both the explicit and implicit bias that people carry. How others may define white supremacy is not the responsibility of you as the council to tiptoe around. Given the official Merriam-Webster definition, do you condemn this belief? As a city, do we condemn this belief? If the answer is yes, then it needs to be said in the statement you create. Councilor Kohler said he would be opposed to putting something in there that is white supremacy because then you have to find every other group under the sun to put in there. I say this, white supremacy is not a group, it's a belief. It is a belief that has no place in this country, in this state, or in our city. Councilor President Freeman mentioned moving forward, the council should be going to the community to listen to what people have to say. Have you gone to the community to ask what people would like to see in an inclusivity statement? Have you asked people of color in our community what words in a statement would matter to them and make them feel more welcome? Councilor Herrera has asked to have something included that condemns white supremacy. Are you listening to him as the sole person of color on this council? Have you asked the Black members of our community, the Latinx community members, members with disabilities, LGBTQIA community members? If as a council, you want to create a statement about our community being welcoming and have it actually mean something, you must include the people who experience the hate and discrimination in this community. I hear more than one of you reference our neighborhoods as diverse and everyone's welcome. People of color may be there, but do they actually feel welcome? Are they a part of our community as a whole? If you have yet to believe racism and hate are here in Keizer, come to a BLM rally or sit down and listen to our communities of color. Keizer has many great people in this community, but we also have community members who have been allowed to demonstrate hate. I've seen it firsthand. As I stood on the corner of River Road just 2 Saturdays ago with our Black neighbors, we were supported by many with thumbs up and honks, but we were also flipped off, yelled at, blown out with exhaust from trucks that revved their engines as they drove by and required to dodge things that were thrown out car windows at us. The hate is here and it must no longer be ignored. You as a council must call it out. By not naming it, it will be allowed to continue. Mayor Clark, I heard and understood your desire to use an affirmative statement because affirmative statements are where we get action. That I can, I will, I do, I shall. You said in the negative, there can be an absence of action. I do not believe we can successfully move toward an ideal if we do not first condemn the beliefs and behaviors that are not desirable and are keeping us from achieving that idea of truly welcoming all. Let's turn the negative into an action. A statement that boldly states the city of Keizer condemns white supremacy, discrimination, hate, exclusion, bullying, violence, and intimidation is necessary. Actively condemning behaviors is an action and will continue to be an action if it is included in our statement. A general positive statement feels like fluff. It doesn't make a strong enough statement against undesirable behaviors. Councillor Smith shared a much bolder statement from Philomath that was closer to denouncing undesirable hate behaviors. However, our communities of color need to read and hear that our city condemns white supremacy, even if some of our white councillors or some of our white community members don't agree. You begin real steps towards inclusion and welcoming all when you are willing to take a stand for all, even if it makes you uncomfortable. True anti-racist work is uncomfortable. I implore you to take a stronger stand in your statement of inclusion and actually condemn white supremacy.
Perfectly fine. Thank you. Next up is Betty Hart. Courtney, would you email, I saw you had it right, and you always are very prepared. If you have a copy, would you, I know you, would you give that to Ms. Davis for inclusion in the packet for us? Thank you. Betty Hart, and then on deck is Mike DeBlasi.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Councilors. My name is Betty Hart, and I'm a longtime resident of Keizer. Thank you for allowing me to address you this evening. My purpose this evening is to bring another perspective to the issues of racism and inclusion. Individuals do not know they are welcome and included unless there is some indication that they are. While a resolution might seem like just words, it does tell people who haven't been included before that they are welcome. It also reminds the makers of the resolution to act like they're all welcome. It is particularly helpful to know that you are welcome when you see someone who looks like you when you arrive. Perhaps that's kind of like going to a party where no one is there who's familiar to you. And then you suddenly see someone you've met before and you feel much more comfortable. I suspect that's how it is at Keizer City Hall, and particularly for nearly 25% of the population of Keizer. Contrary to some opinions, Black Lives Matter is not a hate group. It is more of a movement to bring light through peaceful demonstrations the issues that Black people and other people of color have faced in this country for hundreds of years. To remind us all that their lives are just as important as ours. I won't take time to share some of the things that have happened in the past and continue to happen, but I hope you will take the time to look up Jim Crow laws, for instance, and how they limited opportunities for Blacks, and the Tulsa Massacre and how it ended the opportunity for Blacks to have generational wealth. I know there are many people who prefer the phrase, all people matter, to Black Lives Matter. The fact is that white people's lives have always mattered. And in the spate of killings of people of color, sometimes by the police especially, sometimes without provocation, the concept that Black lives do not matter has become prevalent. People of color would not dare to show up to a demonstration openly carrying a gun. Yet white supremacists have frequently done so, even in Salem, including on the Capitol steps. To borrow from a baseball metaphor, white people start life on first base. If you are a white male and come from a rich family, you are more likely on second or third base. If you are Black or another person of color, you not only start life at home plate, but often with one or two strikes against you. I hope you will take an action that can make all people feel welcome and comfortable when doing business and or participating in Keizer City government. Thank you for your time. and I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Betty. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but in the efforts of decorum, we're just going to continue this way. Betty, I see your remarks are prepared.
Yeah.
Do you have a copy that you can leave with Tracy?
I'll send her a copy in the email.
Would you? That would be very helpful.
Okay.
I appreciate the how well your thoughts are put together, but I expect nothing less from a member of the Keizer Fire Board and longtime member of our community. Thank you. Questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
So you'll email that. Next up is Mr. de Blasi, and next up on deck is Carol Dorfler.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Councilors. I'm here to make a statement on the Keizer Statement of Values. My comments aren't wordsmithing per se, they're more about what I heard last week. While I appreciate the effort that's gone into this statement, I would like to see it stronger, and that we must directly address and condemn white supremacy. During the last council work session, it was said that some people would expect to see Antifa and Black Lives Matter denounced in any statement if we're going to denounce white supremacy, and that there isn't a consensus on the definition of white supremacy. White supremacy is not built on pride in one's ancestors, as some people argue. It's built on a belief that European, especially Northern European, people and cultures are superior to the people and cultures of other parts of the world. I have pride in my culture, but I also have a lot to be ashamed from. I don't believe that my culture is superior to others, nor do I believe that I am superior to other people just because I'm white. So Antifa means anti-fascist. It's a political movement seeking to combat fascists and racists such as neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other far-right extremists. Antifa sees itself as the successor to anti-Nazi activists in the 1930s. I have anti-fascists in my family tree. My uncles fought fascists in Europe and Asia in World War II, and my other relatives worked at the home front to help support that fight. I'm especially confused how people could condemn BLM. I will admit that when I first heard the name, my initial reaction was to wonder how it could ignore other people, especially other people of color. But upon reflection, what I initially thought was Black Lives Matter is actually Black Lives Matter. It's a cry out to America and anywhere where there's the black diaspora that we must value black lives and that they have as much worth as white lives, and that we must eliminate all structures that deny them that equality. I never thought that I would see in our country that we would have to refute the statement that there are good people on both sides while talking about fascists, neo-Nazis, and other racists. But here we are, unable to denounce white supremacy and trying to equate those people with anti-fascists and Black Lives Matter, two groups that are the antithesis of white supremacists. So I ask that you please consider revising the statement and to include as many people of color as possible in that revision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you also email your statement if you have parts of that or all of it in writing?
I will, yeah. This
so
has been
we can
heavily
include that?
scribbled on, so I will do that.
I understand.
Yeah,
I really
okay.
appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you.
All right. Any comments or questions? Thank you. Carol, oh, sorry, I forgot you had a note you wanted to go last. Ramiro RJ Navarro. And then on deck then would be LaTanya Gibbs.
Mayor, city council members, city staff. My name is Ramiro Navarro Jr., and I'm a Keizer resident, born and raised. I'm here today on Dia de los Muertos instead of celebrating with my family because there are important things that need to be addressed in our community. I received a message from a mom in Keizer who had just given birth early October and moved into their new home, only to be threatened with eviction 4 days later. The official reason that the rental agency gave them that notice was because of a violation that there were too many people at the house. The mom explained that she literally just had a baby, and so people were coming over to help her move the heavy furniture. The unofficial reason that she got from the rental agency was that the homeowner wasn't happy with who had moved in. that he wasn't happy that they didn't look like his last renters. So he was going to keep calling and working with the neighbors to file complaints against them to get them evicted because he did not want them there. The rental agency offered to give them back their full $4,000 deposit if they moved out within the month, but they were going to lose the $2,100 that they spent in rent that they had already paid. 4 days in Keizer, and this mom is already looking for a new home because she doesn't look like the other people in her neighborhood. It's been 3 weeks since that mom first messaged me, and already she's received 3 more violations, 2 of which occurred while nobody was home because she was in the hospital due to a stress-induced medical condition. That's just one of the most recent examples I could give of discrimination in our community. It's sad that I have to come here and give those examples to people that believe racism doesn't exist. Just recently, our school board representative stated that she believed racism existed but hasn't experienced it personally in our community. How does one not see the irony in that? Being a white person who doesn't experience racism in Oregon. This person is also the executive director of the Keizer Chamber. The same chamber that the city of Keizer gives thousands of dollars to outreach to the communities of color, and the same chamber that denied the only person of color running to represent Keizer from applying for their endorsement. And we've already seen what the future holds with members of the Keizer Chamber addressing racism. This last week, we had a city councilor speak out against denouncing white supremacy in Keizer's inclusivity resolution. The main perpetrators of racism in America will not be named in a resolution that's meant to make everyone feel safe and included in our community. If you want to make people feel included, stop protecting racists. It's as simple as that. Nobody from the Black Lives Matter movement has ever called me an anchor baby or a wetback. Nobody from the Black Lives Matter movement has ever questioned my veteran status or demanded to see my birth certificate. Nobody from the Black Lives Matter movement has blatantly discriminated against renters here in Keizer. It was white people who feel that others are inferior to them, like Eugene North, who just shot and killed 46-year-old Herman Graham III this last Monday while calling him the N-word. Full stop. I just want to stop right there. Imagine that you're dying, you have bullets in your chest, and you don't know what's going to happen next. And the last thing that you hear is somebody standing over your dead body calling you a bunch of racial slurs. Just imagine what he was going through in that moment. Here in our community, what was in Salem, a couple streets over, but right here. If I could give some advice to the city of Keizer and the council when addressing racism against people of color in our community, listen to the people of color. Listen to the black men that are being shot. Listen to the Latinos who are being evicted. Listen to the people that don't need examples of racism or prejudice because they experience it every single day. I'm hopeful for this inclusivity resolution, but I don't want it to turn into another vanity project like Keizer Fest's Familia Day. I want this to be a genuine message to our community so families can feel safe participating in the community that I grew up in and that we all love.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I do have one, actually several, but as I've been told, be quiet and listen. I have a question on the threats against the family for eviction. We all know that under the governor's order, but in and of itself, that is absolutely out of line. But what that family has experienced is absolutely inexcusable for anybody, period. And I'm not sure what the next steps are because that sounds like it's a violation of fair housing all day long. And there's got to be action that can be taken to protect that family from harassment is what's happening because what they're doing to that family and those threats are not legal, as you and I both know. But I don't know what the Council President Freeman.
Well, you can file a complaint directly with the Fair Housing Council of Oregon, and they do some investigations, but there is, the moratorium on evictions. And so, the governor has an order. I work for Oregon Housing, full disclosure, and it's on our website. We have everything COVID related about any foreclosure evictions, rent evictions. We have a plethora of information on our website. So I'm happy to give you my card and work with them through our agency as well. But I would definitely file a complaint with Fair Housing, the Council of Oregon.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, if you connect up, that would be great because that's absolutely inexcusable. I've had people come to me with their stories over the last years, plural, of harassment of certain individuals in our community that it's absolutely incomprehensible to me to treat people that way, and to that kind of that racism just does not compute in my brain. I'm from Los Angeles, a very multicultural community. That's where I was born and raised. So coming to Oregon was a real shock, I got to tell you. I was not aware of the history of this state when I moved here, and I've been continuing to learn the history of this state. And I'm determined to be part of uncovering and eliminating processes, procedures, whatever it is that was put in place and has historically been embedded to keep people from being able to succeed, participate fully in our economy, in our culture, in our community, based on racism. That is absolutely inexcusable. You want a condemnation of white supremacy as defined by Merriam-Webster? You got it. You got it. There's never been a question in my mind that any race, any culture is superior to another, because every human being is a child of God.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate your support in helping that family.
Thank you. Councilor Herrera.
Anybody else for me? I just want to say that I personally, words are great to say, but I personally want to know who this is, and if it's in Keizer, I will help. I can say a bunch of stuff how I feel, but I want to act on it, and I'll help out. You let me know who that, and I'll find out. I'll be involved. Thank you very much for letting us know. I didn't know anything about that, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Latoya Gibbs, come on down. And then,
Help her with the mic.
I hope I can speak loud enough that
yeah,
Somebody
please,
help.
if you would. Tracy will help you with the microphone.
Oh, okay.
So Tanya.
There was some more people that actually signed it.
Oh, okay. That's how I got,
There you go.
okay.
Hello, Mayor, Council. My name is LaTanya Gibbs, and I live here in Keizer. I moved here about 6 years ago. I work for the state, and I've been working for the state for 6 years. And I appreciate the opportunity to discuss how Keizer can move forward. I understand we probably have some inclusion fatigue, but if we were done, if we had addressed things to the point where they were at a functioning level, the previous structure of the legislation would not have been intentionally negative towards the people that were mentioned in it, which is why we're addressing it now. If we were where we should be, there wouldn't be a need to even remove it, because it would have been removed ages ago because of what it's stating against people who live here. Nothing is ever going to be perfect, and conflict moves things, but if it's not moving things forward, then it's going to hold us, and we're just going to be digging a hole. I think it's time to move forward. I'm reminded of a story by a science fiction writer named Octavia Butler. When she was young, she loved reading, and there was no library for her to go to nearby. Her mother took her to a library that was bigger and in the city. And as she was walking up, she asked the librarian if kids could come in here. The librarian knew what she meant, and Octavia nodded as she said yes. She was a Black woman, and as a child, there were places that she could not easily go. And there exist places that are still not easy to go to, even if legislation has been affected, which is at a federal level sort of being rolled back, but that's another story. I had to put that in there because this is what we're affected by on a larger level. If we can't, a city, a government of any sort, a small district is not a business, it's a group of people. And if we can't find some sort of empathy and curiosity for the people that are nearby, then we're lost. There has to be an effort. The reason people don't feel welcome is because people thought it was okay to leave that on the books of Keizer, that anything promoting LGBT issues is not allowed. How's it promoting to allow that they exist? Again, back to federal, we're looking at fights to remove even further parts of the history of this country. I'm not a nationalist of any sort, but I do understand that there are many people who did not know about the Tulsa riots until recently, including myself, because it wasn't included as part of our history, even though it happened here, because of who it happened to. We're all here. We have to look out for our neighbors, and I hope that the new legislation and the new welcoming we're working on trying to get for Keizer is effective in making sure that people know that they can come here. I've lived in several states, and before I got the job with the state, I was considering moving again, but then I figured I don't feel comfortable anywhere because I'm not getting involved. So this is me getting involved, and I hope to continue to.
Thank you. I hope you stay involved as well. Any questions for LaTonya? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that. And again, your comments and input on the inclusion, justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion statement of values, that is the entire title, would be very much welcome indeed. Okay. Okay, Carol Dorfler, the last one I have here, and then I have one statement that has been submitted in writing. Oh, are there more people signed? Okay, I'll come to folks here. So I'll ask for additional people after Carol.
You never had to move it up before.
Good evening, Mayor Clark, city councilors, staff. You're all going to be receiving a copy of the value statement because I want you to have that to follow along with just the few things that I have to say. And I'm sorry I don't have it for all of you, but closer. You'll just have to kind of figure it out as we go along. So you have a draft, you have a copy of the draft of the Keizer Statement of Values. You will see that I have renumbered the paragraphs. Number 1, shouldn't we welcome people first? Number 2, reassure them that they are safe. The city of Keizer should categorically reject white supremacy as defined in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. The city of Keizer embraces justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion, and is committed to having a community free from acts that are rooted in racism, discrimination, intolerance, bigotry, fear, and hostility. Number 1. The value statement is explicitly defined as how people will behave within their organization, not how a community will behave with each other. And therefore, I propose to change that value statement to an inclusivity resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Comments or questions? So just for the order that it was put out there, and again, this is a draft, capital D-R-A-F-T, draft. It was kind of traditional proclamation style or resolution style where it's the background and then the declaration of results. So it's more like a mathematical logic and if-then statement. But to your point, putting the conclusion first may also be an option as well. But thank you for that, and thank you for your thoughtfulness. Anything else? All right. Anybody else? There are folks who arrived. So if you want to come down, and if you would just give your name and your city of residence for the record.
Good afternoon, everyone, council, mayor. I'm really tempted to say a longtime listener, first-time speaker, so I'm glad I'm just putting it out there. Sorry we were late. We're working on getting everybody registered to vote for tomorrow, so we're kind of doing that work as well. So good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. My name is Elizabeth, resident and voter of the city of Keizer. I'm gonna go slow because eight months, can't really breathe too much.
And if you could, for our city recorder, your last name also?
Oh, Heredia, with an H. So the reason why I'm here today is to share my sentiments and reasons and concerns for the unproductive comments and conversation that took place during the last city council meeting. To reduce BLM, or Black Lives Matter, a social justice movement meant to end police violence and brutality towards our Black brothers and sisters, in the same group as white supremacy and KKK, is completely uninformed and unacceptable. I'm saddened by the comments when it came to denouncing white supremacy and hate in our community. It's very clear you all don't understand what it means. Yes, it's an umbrella term, excluding folks based on race, religion, gender, ethnicity, etc. But it's also used as a way of grouping individuals who support its meaning of excluding others. Such groups like the KKK, white nationalism, neo-Nazis, racist skinheads, might I add, are known terrorist groups, domestic terrorist groups. The city council is meant to set an example for the rest of the community. Do we really want to move forward from Keizer's known racist and homophobic history? Because instead what is happening here is tiptoeing around these very important issues, all in the name of white fragility. I would suggest taking the time to educate yourselves and do your homework to be more informed as a city council member. My professional background is in social work, community organizing, and domestic violence advocacy, working predominantly with the BIPOC community. And let me just let you know that words matter. They matter a lot in our reality. I urge you all to think about this and think about the responsibility you'll have to protect all your constituents, not just a few. And I'm glad to support you all as you're moving forward with this working inclusion and equity document. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and all the best with the baby.
Thank you.
So appreciate that. If you have written comments, taking some of what you just said, I appreciate your thoughts. That will be helpful for us as we review materials for next week. So if you would email those to Tracy Davis, that'd be much appreciated. Questions or comments from council?
I just want to comment. I thank you,
Councilor
Elizabeth, for speaking today. I just want you guys to know that Elizabeth is part of a group that I participate in with helping folks of color to learn how to participate in the system. be board members and run for office. And I've had the pleasure of working with her and Pacun and the Capaces Leadership Institute, which you do an incredible job, Elizabeth. And I just really want to thank you for moving to Keizer. Thank you very much. We need help here in Keizer, as you know. And I just, you've always listened to all the city council meetings over there, and you finally come down here, and I really appreciate that. That's great. I hope you continue to be, and I hope the best for your child.
Thank you.
I hope he's born on December 12th.
Close, close, very close.
I just want to thank you because it's so good to hear, refreshing to hear Latinos speak up and how they feel, especially people that really know what they're talking about. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor. Glad to be here. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much. Anyone else? Yes, come on down. And as a reminder, just your name and your city of residence for the record, please.
Check, check. Hey, everybody, members of City Council, Mayor Clark. My name is Omar Alvarado. I'm a resident also of Keizer and happy to call this town my home. Recently, last week's City Council, I heard some rather difficult conversations happening from certain board members. As a local business owner and a social worker that works with all kinds of community members, and more importantly, as your constituent, it makes me uncomfortable to hear the refusal to denounce white supremacy and to reference it in a manner as equal to Black Lives Matter. As also a fellow member of a board and an ally in working to make our communities safe and fun space for all, this type of language and action coming from professional council members is unacceptable. If we want to have our town be a great town, we need to be informed. Informed on the realities of what is happening around us to our fellow community members. To give a starting point, Black Lives Matter, as I'm sure many of you know, is a social justice movement of leaders meant to speak out on the injustices innocent Black people face at the hands of law enforcement. Nothing about it is meant to be hateful. White supremacy has elements of a domestic terrorist group and is meant to keep people of color disadvantaged and in fear at the hands of oppressive forces. In Black Lives Matter, like many social justice movements, there can be people who are very passionate and take their passion out of the original context of the movement. But this does not reflect the entirety of the movement. This is not the same and cannot be said for white supremacy. White supremacy, which again has elements of a domestic terrorist group, was not founded to speak out on any injustices of any kind, nor to bring to light a social issue of any sort. It has been founded purely on hate and to marginalize people of color, and members of groups of white supremacy would believe in this as well. It is for these reasons that Black Lives Matter and white supremacy cannot be the same. Black Lives Matter nor other groups claim themselves elitist over other racial groups. That is something only members of white supremacy do. Hence, it could stand alone as its own type of category. By not denouncing something evil like white supremacy or not doing anything against it when it happens is the same as supporting it. What happened last week makes it seem that certain members of City Council support white supremacy, or maybe it is that they don't know what it means and are not informed. Keizer already has a negative reputation based on our history. Do we really want our city to continue to be recognized in this negative light, and now even more so as a city that does not renounce white supremacy in this day and age and in 2020, almost 2021? I don't think we want to continue marking this negative reputation for Keizer. I don't believe that Keizer supports white supremacy because it is an outdated, tiring, and hateful way of living. But the Keizer residents that do support white supremacy will tell you that they are doing it with bad intent, and that is the problem. That is why, as a constituent and a citizen, I urge you to really take the time to get informed on what's going on around our community to make you a stronger leader when faced with an issue like this again. If other constituents do support white supremacy, then it's your job as a city council member and leader in your community to make them understand the reality that it is not okay. And if they wish to say something in support of white supremacy for some reason, then that's what city council is for, to be here and speak your mind on your community. But if they don't want to be here, then that's on them. But first, you yourself as council members need to get informed on the reality of the evils of white supremacy, and that there's no other groups that can be categorized to these beliefs besides folks like the KKK or Nazis. If you really love your city, you'll make the effort to get educated and inform your community members on these truths. I love my city and I love my country. And to make it better, we need to denounce white supremacy, because we're not racist and we're not all white. We're welcoming and full of all colors and all different kinds of people. If you love your city and your country like I do, you'll do what is needed to denounce white supremacy and inform others to do the same in order to have a safer community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions from counselors? I see that you have that written. Would you do us the favor of emailing your comments to Tracy Davis so that we will have the written record as well and can take time to reflect?
Will do. Thank you so much, everybody.
So Tracy's email, and it is also in the announcement that went out, but so everybody has is Davis, Davis, the letter T, @keizer.org. Davis, T, @keizer.org is the email to send it to. And then she'll be able to put the packet together for us, for our continued reflection upon that. Anybody else? Yes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Councilors. I wasn't planning on saying anything tonight. I didn't have anything written down, but let's just say the spirit moved me to say a few things. My name is Matthew Poteet. I am a resident here in Keizer. I've lived here this time around for 6 years. I lived here back in early 2000s when we first moved up here to the Willamette Valley. One thing really caught me tonight, Madam Mayor, and I mean no disrespect at all with what I have to say, but you said something that was very key that stuck with me for the last 20, 30 minutes. You said it was incomprehensible when RJ spoke about the people being evicted. Incomprehensible were the exact words you used. I've been married for almost 25 years. My wife is black. My children are black. And I've learned more about black history in the last 6 months than in the last 25 years being married into a black family. I've learned a lot about what it is to really be white in America. Because it's difficult for me. I've never really seen myself like that, even though I appear to be that. I grew up very differently. I grew up very cultural and saw things in a different way. And so being on the other side of the white picket fence, I saw a lot of injustices. And over time, I comprehended things in a very different way. And for eyes to go up or to get big and eyebrows to raise on things that are incomprehensible is simply a reality for other people on a daily basis. And they comprehend that reality very well. They know what it is. They see what it is. They can taste it. They can smell it. We can smell it. We can taste it. We can feel it and see it if we choose to look that direction. We can look the other way. We can look to the people next to us for answers or things like that if we don't have that. It's incomprehensible for me to live in a city that is 25% diverse when we get into statistics, and only one member of that is visibly a member of a diverse culture. And I've seen looks when this individual speaks up. I've seen slides of eyes or rolling of eyes when they speak up. We should denounce white supremacy. It has no place. I have fear, having a son who's 6'2" and black, of being pulled over by a nice-looking gentleman, and because of the color of his skin, feels the need that he has to put on glasses to appear less threatening. Eyeglasses. He carries eyeglasses that he bought at Dollar Tree. He doesn't wear prescription eyeglasses. But he understands that that certain things make people look less threatening. You go out this driveway right here, or maybe it's over here. Yeah, there we go. And it's Chamawa Road. You drive up 2 miles, and there's a school that's been here longer than this town, that's been here longer than most of the establishments in this valley. The people that lived here are not seen, not included very often, right? I worked out there for 7 years and never saw a member of city council out there. Didn't see business owners at Chamawa. Yet we would bring the kids into the community to try to bring them and have them be a part of things, but there was no balance to that. We never saw you. Putting yourself in the environments of others. This young lady, she said it, I think, very well, that when you go to a party and you don't recognize anybody, and then you see somebody, and then all of a sudden you're a little bit more comfortable. Somebody that you know, somebody that looks like you. I experienced that for the first time when my family went out to Detroit, Michigan. And there I was in inner city Detroit, Michigan at this mall, and I'm looking around, and I was the only white person there. And it was a different thought, because I had never thought like that. I'm the only person that looks like me here, yet my wife by my side for the past 10, 15 years at that time felt that every time she walked into a restaurant here in Keizer or in Salem. So incomprehensible. We have to comprehend what other people think, because other people's experiences are very different than ours. And even if we can't comprehend it, it does not remove the validity or the reality that is the reality for some people. I'm disappointed that seat's empty tonight. If it is truly family, then by all means family comes first. But this right here is an action that is taken very often in government. When the people speak, the politicians are absent. And that is incomprehensible. My respects.
So if I may, the event is family, and that is the fact. And the work session on this topic is next week, where all the counselors are planning to be here. So I do want to clarify that. Incomprehensible. I did not put it well. It is I cannot comprehend a person who would think it was okay to do what that landlord is doing. That does not compute in my brain as something that would be even something that somebody should do, want to do, intend to do. Do I understand that happens to people? Yes. I've been around a few years. Seen it, listened to people, and so forth. I comprehend that happens, and I comprehend that it happens in this city. I also comprehend that it's wrong. But I don't understand the thought process that goes through somebody's brain to make sure who would think that would be okay. So if I might clarify myself a little bit better, I did not say it properly. Thank you for that opportunity.
I believe you said it perfectly, because the reasons that people do things like that is because of that hate. And with that being incomprehensible of knowing what goes on in a person's head, that is a piece that is seen very clearly. Not denouncing white supremacy is one of those moments.
I appreciate that. Councilor Herrera?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Matthew. That was well put. And you said something that really struck with me, because, I see things behind the scenes. I hear people say negative things about Middle Easterners that you'll never hear, that I hear up here. You'll hear things, I hear things, and I see folks. Pardon?
I didn't hear that from me.
I didn't say.
But you include all of us.
No, I didn't include all of you, but I said.
He did. He did. Not to interrupt, but he did. He didn't point at you.
I wasn't pointing at you.
Including all of us.
Well, it was set up here. Anyway, here's the deal. When I get folks talk to me, they go, "Boy, you should see what's his name, squirm when you were talking or roll their eyes." And you actually noticed that too. Somebody else told me that several times, and it's very telling to me, because I hate to say this, and I always say this, I'm the only person of color up here, and you guys are sick of it, and they're mad at me for saying it over and over. But I will say this, I'm not going nowhere, and I'm going to speak for what I believe in. And I believe that white supremacy should be denounced by us, by leadership. And I believe leadership should be bold.
Absolutely.
Speak for everybody, not just this group should represent everybody. I mean, not just the business community, not just a chamber, not just the people that are. I mean, it should represent everybody, the youth, folks, and everybody. And I'm talking about our community because. Thank you for saying this because like some folks just don't get it. I mean, they don't. You can say all you want and all that. They blame Antifa because that's another way of protecting white supremacy. They blame other folks. They want to tie in, and it really is astounding to me to listen to it from leaders. I mean, it's very hard.
We have to become comfortable being uncomfortable.
I know it's uncomfortable. I get that, and I feel very alone sometimes. Look where I'm sitting now. Look what. Let me tell you one thing right now. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep talking this. I mean, I'm the only one up here that gets, and this is including you guys, that gets hate mail and gets F you, Roland Herrera, and then calling me a beaner and all that. I have to put up with that. And you know what? I will put up with it because. Right. I believe strong enough in principle and standing up for what I believe. I come from a family of people that stand up for people of color, everybody. And I'm so proud of you folks that came up and testified today because us folks have to hear it from you too because it exists. I see it every day. And somebody told me the other day, Roland, why are you always talking about race? I go, well, hell, everybody keeps reminding me. I mean, I get emails and anonymous calls and all this stuff. And, I doubt, and I've talked to the council, they don't experience that much or any at all probably. And I put up with it and they say I'm always mad. Well, you know what? It gets pretty frustrating listening to people calling you a beaner and a wetback and stuff. I'm a human being. I'm a resident of this country. I'm proud to be an American. My father, my brothers are all veterans and they're all people that participated in this government. My father lost his jobs. My brother lost his job because of who he was. I lost my job because of who I was. And that's part of the work we have to do. I didn't go nowhere. I'm still here. So I really appreciate your effort and everybody that spoke today. Thank you very much and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Please. If you would, your name and your city of residence for the record.
Yes. My name is Bob Salazar. My residence is here in Keizer. And I don't have anything prepared. I've just been, as the gentleman before me was, motivated by what I've heard today. To put a little bit of context of who I am and where I come from, I'm an educator for 35 years in the Woodburn, Salem, Keizer area, a former administrator. And the thing that I see tonight is I really want to commend the people that have spoken before me. Very excellent points and supportive of the community. Having lived in the Salem area prior to moving to Keizer 15 years ago, Keizer did have a reputation of not being very welcoming. And initially when I did come, I found that to be, even though I had many friends here. But the thing that I felt at that time, the reason that I was able to come to the Keizer is because of those people who were supportive. And as Ms. Hart mentioned earlier, going into a situation where you feel welcome. And if you see that person, you know it's welcomed. But the thing that is really important, and I think that it's education is primary. Having been as a teacher, as an administrator, both at the local level and at the state level, I found that there was things that often had to be addressed, and that sometimes, as has been said earlier, definitions can just be definitions that are used to sidetrack things. A definition of white supremacy, it's human nature. How we are treated, how we treat one another. It's a humanity thing. Now, this is the thing that I've had all my life. I have established with relationships. But the thing that was probably more effective for me was when my daughter was at a meeting, and she was working for Comcast. She was in a meeting, and they mentioned to her, well, what do Hispanics or Latinos listen to, as far as television, so Telemundo or whatever. And she goes, well, I don't know. I don't listen to her. I'm not fluent in Spanish. The comment to one of the directors was, well, I thought all you beaners watch the same station, which was exactly what we would hear, that it was very derogatory, which when she told me, my wife had to calm me down. she says, you need to, you just listen and then react after you've had some time to think and what course of action you want to take. So these are the things that cut deep. And there's more, I think the idea of white supremacy, if the more we can say in our values is something that we will not accept, would be, I think, a very strategic and step for the city of Keizer. Because I like Keizer, and I like where it's going. But again, I think there's steps that we have to take because there are times and situations, and I know that when we used to live in the Northeast and we used to have to go over and play McNary, there were things that, we'd sit back. But love some of those kids. I go to the courthouse, love working with those kids now. And when I was at Washington and was principal at Washington and then also in West Salem. But it's the sort of thing where we have to really come together as a community and not be looked upon. Yeah, I've been able to reach into areas because of my education, but the color of my skin still tells me who I am, and people reflect that when they see me. If they don't know me, that's the status that I'm given. So thank you, and especially thank everybody who is here tonight and those that spoke before me, because it was very informative and something I think is something. Take what they've said. I listened and I thought, wow, this is good stuff that can be collaborated and put together in some type of a format that can really, I think, benefit the council. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any questions? Councilor Herrera.
I want to make a quick comment. I happen to know Bob Salazar for many, many years, former teammate, and his daughter was an amazing athlete at Willamette University, a basketball player. And I just want to mention that because thank you for showing up, Bob. I really appreciate you showing up. I mean, it means so much to me. I've been an admirer of him and all you guys that from that era, from the 70s, way back in the 70s. But thank you for being here.
Ouch.
No, that's a compliment to Bob. Trust me.
When he was a kid.
You still look like you can still play ball.
Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I'm not on. First of all, thank you all for coming out here. It's so important to see a variety of perspectives, and it's important to hear from people what their experiences are. This is a difficult process, and I'm sorry to see that so many people have been willfully misunderstood, and that clarifying questions, are seen as resistant. We need all of these voices. We need to be able to understand each other. We need to be able to understand what words mean to people, because as we're talking about the values of Keizer, anything, and I feel like the whole message of the last meeting was missed in that not a single person on this council has supported white supremacy in any way. But we also want to make sure to fully understand what that means and what that means for all people. Hate never is productive. And I'm hearing this from so many people who have experienced hate. I've experienced hate. I got kicked off the no hate corner of the street once. And, we need to be able to approach this in a productive manner, out of love, out of understanding. And I truly apologize. I feel like I was misunderstood, but I do think it's important to be able to clarify a lot of these issues, and that's what a lot of your testimonies have done tonight. And I really appreciate you all coming and stepping up and sharing your experiences and your perspective with us, and we hear you. And so I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Councilor Reed. Anyone else? For the record, we did receive an email from Levy Herrera Lopez, the Executive Director of Mano a Mano, and this will be included in the written testimony as well tonight, and it will be part of the packet for this November 9th.
Madam Mayor,
If I may, yes?
are you going to read it?
I was about to.
All right. Thank you. You didn't read the one about the Spanish language, so that's why I asked. Thank you.
I'm not sure what the reference is, but I.
The gentleman
I'd like
that
to
wrote
read it.
against our Spanish language interpretation, he wrote a
To
nice long
clarify,
letter.
the mayor wasn't there that night. I was the pro tem mayor.
I wasn't here that night.
You didn't receive the letter?
I got it. I
Okay.
wasn't
All right.
here.
Thank you.
I was out of town, another city, yeah.
They work together.
Dear Tracy Davis, please make this testimony available to Mayor Clark and all city councilors, as has been done. Regarding inclusivity resolutions and denouncing of white supremacy, dear Mayor Clark and city councilors, I write to you on behalf of Mano a Mano Family Center, a Salem-based nonprofit serving more than 100 families in Keizer. We realize these are scary times. As our own Vic Backlund used to say, do the right thing because it is the right thing to do. That's it. If you can't live up to that maxim, public service may not be for you. American heroes of all stripes fought against fascism, tyranny, and white supremacy. Denouncing white supremacy is the right thing to do and the easiest thing to do. White supremacy movements are not comparable to Black Lives Matter. We all should have no problem denouncing white supremacy movements such as Proud Boys, Nazis, and anti-immigrant groups. Denounce white supremacy. Full stop. Qualifying your denouncement or watering it down in any way is suspicious. This council has a history created by the adoption of the anti-LGBTQ language in Chapter 44 of the City Charter. That history doesn't define you as council members if you walk away from it. The closer you stay to that history, the more it will stain you. Mayor Clark, you're not alone in your efforts. Do not go at it alone because it should be a shared effort. If it does not go well, it will be on your shoulders and it should be a shared responsibility. Sincerely, Levy Herrera Lopez, Executive Director. For the record, the City Council did not adopt Section 44 of the City Charter. That was adopted by a vote of the people in 1992, would have been the election, so it was added in 1993. It was the action of this council that started the Charter Review Committee with the intention of opening the entire charter, not only with our expressed desire unanimously, all 7 of us, to see Section 44 removed, which, regardless of what the Charter Review Committee said, was going to be part of our recommendation. 9 community members, working with our city attorney, and Tammy Harms, his assistant, chaired by Councilor Elizabeth Smith, went through that charter line by line. That is the charter that has been unanimously approved by the Charter Review Committee and by the City Council, and is now up for a vote. Again, it must be approved by the people of Keizer today. So I'm hoping that people have voted for approving the new charter, but I want to make it clear that it was not an action of a prior council. I was not on council in 1993. I was busy raising for small children at that point. But I am very happy that we have brought that to the voters, and that is on the ballot, and that decision will be made tomorrow when all the votes are counted. So thank you for your support for the new charter. I'm hoping that we have support from everybody here, every city councilor, every council candidate, and the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to Danielle and to the Chamber Board for also endorsing the new home rule charter. So I want that clear, where that came from and where that can go going forward. All right. Anybody else would like to address the council under public testimony tonight? Yes, come on down, Mr. Rodriguez. And again, if you would just say your name and your city of residence for the record.
Good evening, Council, citizens. My name is Rich Rodriguez. I'm a member of Keizer on Bailey Court. Some fabulous testimony here, just absolutely fabulous. And this has to do with the work of the Sustainability Committee that I'm the unofficial chair of, a non-city committee. And today I'd like to ask for a few moments of silence for some recent losses in Oregon. I'm going to review the decision about the resolution for the purchase of vehicles made at the last council meeting. And then I'll conclude my remarks with a summary. First, some recent losses. For those impacted by the recent fires in Detroit and Southern Oregon and elsewhere, where blazes killed several people and destroyed well over 600 homes. And for the loss of Clark Glacier on the flanks of South Sister. The glacier was deemed officially dead October 20th. Let us now have a moment of silence for these losses in Oregon. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing the impact of climate change to our community and our Oregon. I'd like to now turn our attention to the decision made on October 9th at this council meeting. At that meeting, I spoke against the resolution to purchase 2 police cars. I spoke against that resolution for 2 reasons: financial and environmental. First, financial. In my testimony, I asked if there was a life cycle analysis of the vehicles. Total price, $67,000. Nobody from city staff, nobody on the council raised their voice to speak to this question that I posed. Nobody. Nobody asked a question. I found no evidence that there was a full life cycle analysis in these documents presented to council. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I noticed, though, that when I asked about life cycle cost analysis, the city manager, attorney, and finance manager all fidgeted in their seats. Why? Likely they knew that there was no life cycle analysis. Notably, fossil fuel vehicles versus electric vehicles. Had this analysis been done, it may have revealed that electric vehicles, including the cost of gasoline, oil changes, air filters, spark plugs, service labor, resale value, all of these things would have seemingly been excluded from the staff's analysis and recommendations to you. You seemingly had no idea if the choice of a fossil vehicle was the best interest of the city and its citizens. Despite my raising this issue of the life cycle cost analysis, you proceeded to spend some $63,000 of funds belonging to the citizens of Keizer. While I have respect for many of you, your decision was simply, seemingly ill-advised in light of the questions that were raised. You have no idea, it appears, about the least cost life cycle purchase decision. I recommend that the city begin a planning phase now for future vehicle purchases that includes a life cycle cost analysis. And I encourage the city to engage Fourth in Portland, fourthmobility.org, to recommend an appropriate life cycle cost analysis model. Do not wait and repeat this mistake again. I also objected on the $63,000 vehicle purchase on environmental grounds. It has nothing to do with the police department. You council members gave absolutely no consideration to the 200,000 pounds of CO2 that these vehicles will emit over their lifetime.
Mr. Rodriguez, so your 5 minutes has expired. Would you please go ahead and conclude?
In summary, I want to thank everybody for a moment of silence for the losses that we have suffered in Oregon due to climate change. And I've made recommendations on improving the process of vehicle purchases, both from an environmental standpoint and financial analysis standpoint. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Madam Mayor.
Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, Mr. Rodriguez, when you testified at our last meeting, you gave a couple websites. So I was up here on my phone trying to find them. They didn't pop up. I'm sure they're fine, just probably technology. Let's just leave it at that. I actually went home and had a conversation with my husband about your request. He actually did pull up a police department. I'm not going to quote where because I don't remember. It happened to be very late that night. And he was saying how much this particular police department did save purchasing electric vehicles. When I hear electric vehicles, I think they're not going to get there in time if I'm calling 911. I'm looking at you, Chief. So maybe in the future they will. I have a weekly check-in with Mr. Epley every Friday morning. We had a conversation about electric vehicles. One thing I'm going to say about this staff is they do a lot of research. Chris has looked at electric vehicles. I'm sure the chief and your team has looked at electric vehicles. Right now, it is not cost effective. And Chris, if I'm saying something that's incorrect, and maybe I should just stop and let you finish this conversation, but it is something that they have looked at and they will continue to look at it. And when the cost is right for us and other police departments across this country, I think you will see more electric vehicles. But we are doing our due diligence. Whether we did not answer your questions when you came and testified and shared your comments, I'm sorry for that, but we do our due diligence behind this dais and work really closely with staff. But I do appreciate you bringing those items, and Chris, I'll let you finish.
I'm not positive that I have a lot to add other than we do look at the different kinds of vehicles available to purchase each time we purchase vehicles. And in certain areas, there is not an industry, the industry has not moved there yet. It will get there. I firmly believe that. And when it makes sense and it gets there, we will move that direction. So I appreciate your work on this. I really do. Not trying to fidget. It just isn't time yet in terms of the industry to move to patrol vehicles that are electric. There are other vehicles where it may make sense in the administration of the police department, et cetera. Detectives that don't need the same kind of patrol vehicle will look more closely at that. But when the time is right, we will move.
Fourth's a great organization to collaborate.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Chief?
You'd be happy to know that I drive, my official city vehicle is the Untitled Chapter. I think it's 50 miles a gallon. It's a little car. Whenever I go anywhere in it, I'm like, Chief drives that? Yeah. He's pressed for years for us to move to electric vehicles. He really has. They only come in sedans. You can't fit bad guys in the back of those things, and they're really hard when they're in your office for 12 hours a day. When you make a SUV that's electric, I guarantee you it would be one of the first agencies to buy them. And I will look into, is it Fourth Electric, you said?
Fourthmobility.org.
Yeah, no problem doing that. It's all good. We'll do it. Okay. By the way, they had no choice but to approve the last budget purchase. We're already mid-season. Those things they're on the cusp of being built. Time is of the essence. Moving towards electric SUVs needs to be a thoughtful decision, and it will be.
I just encourage a process revision as that decision unfolds in the future.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Going once.
Oh, Chris has.
Oh, Mr. Epler.
If everybody in the audience is done, I simply wanted to congratulate the audience for unbelievably thoughtful testimony this evening. I love local government. This is where work actually gets done. Most people will never touch their federal government in any way. Most people will never touch their state government in any way. But almost everybody can get involved at the local level and make differences happen immediately. And this is the way to do it. And you all did it very well. And so I appreciate that. And I know this council that will listen to you.
Thank you. Councilor Parsons?
Yes, thank you. This is my statement that I want to make. I also want to thank you all for coming week after week after week and staying on us. This is very important to me too, and dear to my heart. If white supremacy is a belief, then we denounce that belief. There's no room for hatred. There's no room for one race being superior to another. We are all equal. My grandson, who is black, was standing in line last week to go through a haunted house, and this kid who was older than him but shorter called him a racial slur. So my grandson looked at him and just slugged him a couple times, ran when the security came, got back in line with his friends, and proceeded on with the evening. We shouldn't fight with hands. Unfortunately, sometimes it comes to that to get people to understand that's not acceptable behavior. My grandchildren's in-laws family or other grandparents are from South Carolina, and when they lived there, I went there, and I know Mr. Potiti, he left, but we went to church, and it was a Southern Baptist church. And my daughter and I were the only white people in this church. I felt uncomfortable for only a minute. And then I was accepted with open arms because we all praised the same God. So it didn't matter. So I thought, wow, this is a wonderful place to live. These people are wonderful people. I don't consider them black or white or anything other than the good people that they were, because they were accepting of other people. And that's the way we need to be too. So yes, I denounce white supremacy. I denounce hatred. I denounce all of that. And even though I'm leaving this council in a few weeks, I have worked hard with Mr. Herrera here for 6 years, mentoring him. I was on his side. And he knows that. We have to work together. If we're going to make things happen and change, we all have to work together. No more spatting. No more remarks that are uncalled for. We have to work together. And I appreciate all of you coming, because this is what makes us all work together. And this is what gets things done at the local level. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Anyone else? I love Keizer. I really do. Thoughtful, considered, honest, and an opportunity for each of us, for me. Okay, I'm gonna speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else. The grace to allow for growth, for learning, for thinking things through. Thank you. This is a community that I hope we will continue to allow each other the grace to understand, to build relationships, and to deepen them. Yeah, maybe it is just a few words. So I'll just leave them at that. I'm looking forward to our work session next week, where we can continue the work. Thank you. All right, from the sublime to the practical.
Do we need to take a break?
You know what? It is 9 o'clock. We're going to take a bio break for 10 minutes. We are in recess.
Bio break.
All right, we are going to resume Keizer City Council, Monday, November 2nd, 2020. And we're going to be on to our next order of business, which is underneath this other piece of paper. There it is. Administrative action, item 8A, ordinance amending Keizer Development Code regarding section 1.200 definitions and section 2.122 floodplain overlay zone, amending ordinance number 98-389. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chris, Madam Mayor and Council. You may remember this matter came before Council at the September 21 meeting to direct staff to prepare an ordinance to approve the floodplain changes. And I told Council at that time we still needed to do some wordsmithing, which took a lot of effort. And I want to thank my assistant and community development director and their staff too. So it was a little problematic working through those changes, but we've got those now. And it's before you for adoption, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the ordinance itself? I did find one typo, so do I just need to get back to you later?
No.
It's a Scrivener's error?
No, no, and if you have it there, I'd prefer to get it. This is especially true with the ordinance for the other councilors.
That's why I asked. It's in the definitions. It's packet page 32 is page 19 of the definitions section. The letter of map change number 7 PMR in second to last line. I think it's supposed to be base, effective base flood.
That's correct.
Okay. The two letters got switched. I thought maybe it was another new term because there was plenty of new acronyms in there. I'm going, what?
Nope. If
trying to follow.
Council President can just refer to that typo on page 20 of the definitions, I think. That base should be base.
Okay. That's all I found, aside from the acronyms and trying to figure out what the changes, what other changes were in there. Were there any other questions or comments? All right, Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance amending Keizer Development Code regarding section 1.200 definitions and section 2.122 floodplain overlay zone, amending ordinance 98-389. Also note the definition, which is on page 20, a typo, it should be base.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance amending Keizer Development Code regarding section 1.200 definitions and section 2.122 floodplain overlay zone, amending ordinance number 98-389 with a correction on page, it's actually page 19.
Oh, page 19, sorry.
It says 20? Okay.
Page 32 of the packet, page 20 of the...
Okay, apparently I looked at the wrong one. Okay, page 20, letter of map change, change phase to base. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously, one absent. Item 8B, a resolution approving report of consultant relating to Keizer Growth Transportation Impact Study. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chris, Madam Mayor and Council. This matter came before Council at the last meeting, and after the presentation by the consultant, Council directed staff to prepare an appropriate resolution to approve the consultant's report with regard to the Keizer Growth Transportation Impact Study. That resolution with the attached study is in the packet for your approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions on the staff report? Seeing none, Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2020, approving report of consultant relating to Keizer Growth Transportation Impacts Study.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2020, approving report of consultant relating to Keizer Growth Transportation Impact Study. Any discussion? Just one clarification, and it was in the staff report that this acknowledges that we received the study, but it does not incorporate it into our comprehensive plan. It's informational at this point. Is that correct?
That is correct. However, you are approving the plan. It's just not a formal land use decision. That's why I made that notation.
Okay. So it's conceptual in terms of the lands that could be part of an urban growth boundary expansion at some point, but we're not saying that there is a commitment of any kind at this point.
No, not at all. Those are, of course, just scenarios. What you are approving is the numbers based, or the consultant's study. If those got chosen, this is the work that you're approving as far as approving the report. So the report can be used later in future decision making.
Okay, as part of our background information.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anything further? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously, one absent. Item 8C, ordinance declaring a third local state of emergency in the city of Keizer as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, declaring an emergency. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chris, Madam Mayor and Council. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the governor has declared some states of emergency. We tie these to those dates, if anyone's been wondering. So, for example, the governor just renewed hers, so the timing of this is approximately in 2-month intervals. Obviously, you can take action prior to that, but the concept is that it doesn't go on forever without council revisiting the issue. So we have that before you tonight. It's a new ordinance. It's similar to the previous ordinance. This expires on January 5. There was one note that I will point out, and I put in the staff report too, with regard to the State Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA. OSHA draft rules are expected to go into effect within the next 2 weeks. It may be adopted this week, and it's 10 days after adoption. I specifically put in the, if I can find it, the resolution with regard to the possibility of OSHA rules. I guess it's section 10, which is on page 264 of the packet, or page 5 of the ordinance. Section 10 indicated that the city will take all necessary steps to comply with COVID rules from OSHA. If applicable, OSHA rules may supersede some or all of the rules set forth in this ordinance. So along the lines of being don't shoot the messenger, OSHA's draft rules, unlike the governor's rules, will apply to the city. For those of you that don't know, the governor's rules don't directly, except for the community rooms, which is operated on a proprietary basis. The governor's rules don't specifically apply to the local government buildings. We have followed many of those, not quite all, because we have the right to under the governor's executive orders. OSHA rules, however, apply to all workplaces, including probably council meetings, because it's would be considered a workplace. I'll follow up with future information as soon as I have that. But I wanted to let folks know ahead of time that we may need to be making some changes. I know we will on the personnel side, if you will, with regard to our employees on the other side of the counter. I need to double check how that might affect the actual council meetings. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions on the staff report or the ordinance? Just one note, and that was on, scroll back. Don't guess, look at your notes. There's an idea. On lines 4 through 6 on page 2 of the ordinance. There it is. It refers to OSHA. It says OSHA after, but it says Oregon Health Authority, so that needs to be changed to OHA.
That is supposed to be OHA, not OSHA.
Did you want to, was there an intention to put both of them in there? Because we're also watching OSHA as well as the Oregon Health Authority.
Actually, no.
Okay.
I mean, OSHA, yeah, right. Well, we were talking OSHA when we were doing this. we have been following OSHA. That particular place that you point out, Madam Mayor, is a typo. You could certainly add OSHA because we have been following it, but it hasn't been effective until now, or actually not now, but sometime in the next couple weeks.
So is the preference then to modify it to just read OHA?
Correct.
That's the acronym?
Right.
Okay. All right. Want to make sure we weren't leaving any of the alphabets out. Okay, anything else? Council President Freeman?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance declaring a third local state of emergency in the city of Keizer as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, declaring an emergency, and also noting the correction on page 2 of the ordinance to from OSHA, OSHA to OHA for Oregon Health Authority.
Second that with correction.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance declaring a third local state of emergency in the city of Keizer as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, declaring an emergency with a correction on page 2, replacing OSHA, OSHA with OHA for the Oregon Health Authority. Anything further? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously, one absent. Item 8D, a resolution relating to wastewater service charges 2021 to 2022, repeal of R 2018-2919. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, just as a reminder, the City of Keizer is part of a regional sewer system. The system is managed and operated by the City of Salem. Every 2 years, the City of Salem does a cost of service analysis, and part of that analysis is specific to providing sewer services to Keizer residents. In October 2020, the City of Salem adopted a rate increase of 3% effective January 1st, 2021 and January 1st, 2022 for the City of Keizer residents. This equates to a $12.60 increase and $12.72 annual increases in 2021 and 2022 respectively for the average residential customer. The primary reason for the rate increase is to support the ongoing sewer system capital improvement plan. Unfortunately, sewer is highly capital intensive, and it really does necessitate and continual ongoing investment into that system. The City of Keizer is responsible for the sewer billing function for Keizer residents. The sewer charges are included on the combined bi-monthly utility billing statement, the water and stormwater charges, and police and parks fees. And then the sewer revenues are then remitted back to the City of Salem. As a reminder, as we talked about during our budget committee process, the City of Keizer is not raising the rate for the water system or the stormwater or the parks or the police fees this year. In light of COVID-19, we're going to cinch our belts up and hold on to what we have for another year. I think that speaks well to how well managed the utilities are within the City of Keizer, that we're able to respond. The City of Salem was not able to respond specific with sewer, but also with their water and their stormwater charges. So Salem residents are seeing increases across the board. With that, is there any questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions? Seeing none, and thank you for keeping us up to date on our other service fees and charges and so forth, and not only managing the funds well, but also the collaboration between across all of our departments to make sure we get the best value.
I'm going to go ahead and say it now rather than later, but go ahead and start conserving your water. Sewer is a flat fee that gets set once a year, and this is the time that we look at your water consumption to set that annual flat rate. So save water, your pocketbook will thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Councilor Herrera has
Councilor Herrera?
Thank you. Tim, remind me of when the end of this this setting is. Is it till January or December?
Well, it depends on which side of the city you live in. The actual
I live in
rate
a good
setting
side.
process starts, it actually started today. So I did all my laundry, dishes, everything I could, wash the house last weekend. So the actual rate setting starts today.
and will go until March, right around March 1st.
Thank you.
Shower till March.
Thank you very much.
No showers till March.
No showers.
Talk about social distancing. Okay then, quick, get us out of here. Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2020 relating to wastewater service charges, 2021-2022, repeal of Resolution R 2018-2919.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2020 relating to wastewater service charges 2021 to 2022, repeal of Resolution R 2018-2919. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously, one absent. Consent calendar. Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's 2 items on the consent calendar tonight. Items 9A is a resolution authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with DGS General Construction, Inc. for the Keizer City Hall minor remodel. And 9B is approval of October 19, 2020 City Council regular session minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any polls?
No.
No polls. Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I move that the Keizer City Council adopt the consent calendars, items 9A and B.
I'll second that.
The consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously, one absent. Council liaison reports. Councilor Rivera, can we start with you tonight?
Sure, yeah. Let's see, I had a whole bunch of Zooms, LOC, the Oregon Latinx Leadership Network. We had a nice conversation, which has been really interesting, being with the election coming up. We received a grant also for our publication. I also participated in a very interesting discussion with the Willamette Valley Hospice, who is doing looking at their policies in terms of diversity, equity, inclusion. And so they had a panel of folks, and I was invited, so it was really interesting. And they are super open to helping open their business to make it more inclusive. Also, I just wanted to say, in regards to the election, just everybody be ready for interesting next week. I just hope everything is civil and people understand how it works and hang in there. So that's all I got. I do want to repeat what I said about the folks that showed up today. I know that there's a lot of passion flying around, but I think it's important that we address this in a correct way and make it inclusive. And I heard several folks mention about Keizer reputation. I've said that before, and I really am working hard in myself to make sure that we don't maintain. In fact, when people tell me the cops in Keizer, the this and that in Keizer, I always say I defend Keizer. Although we did have sort of a stain, like Levy said, in terms of our past. And I was out here in '92 when they were doing that, and our leadership didn't speak up in terms of that. I will say that. But I just want to thank our contributions of our public that brought a very passionate positions, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Parsons. Gee.
That's okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've been gone actually the last couple weeks, sorry about that. And I actually will be gone on Monday because I scheduled this trip thinking we didn't have a work session, then you scheduled the work session last week, so I want to apologize in advance for that. I will try really hard from Hawaii to listen. Not. Anyway, I've been busy. Actually, we're setting up virtual mentorships for the students at McNary. It's very difficult right now. I don't think conferences went very well for a lot of the students, and we've got some seniors that are really falling behind in a lot of different things, and this is not a good scenario for them, obviously, but we're doing our best now to get them back on track. So not only am I mentoring them for what they're gonna do after, but I'm trying to mentor them on staying up on their work and getting their grades up and just passing this term and getting through this, and hopefully they'll get to go back to school next term. So we got our Zoom now, we got permission, so we're kind of up and running with that. So I've been working really hard with that. Next week is a chamber board meeting. I'm not sure who's gonna go in my place for that yet, but I have Marion County breakfast, and Councilor Smith would like to go to that next week. And then on the 19th, we have our volunteer coordinating committee meeting here at 6 o'clock.
All right, thank you very much.
That's it.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Councilor Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, so we have next week on Tuesday, November 10th, the Keizer Public Arts Commission meeting. And it looks like they're working on getting some additional artwork out on River Road near Schoolhouse Square. Former Mayor Christopher is actively working that angle, and we all know how dedicated she is when she gets it in her head. So I think we'll have something pretty cool coming. And yes, I've agreed to go to the Marion County Commissioners Breakfast, which is always interesting. And I really don't have a ton tonight, just, hoping and praying that no matter what, that people see that the charter is a good thing for everyone, and that it's a really great document. I've gotten a lot of good feedback. People said it was very professionally done. And, people thought there could be some kind of sneaky thing put in there. And it was very nice to be able to know that there was nothing sneaky, but a recreation of a document that is like our Constitution. So I am very pleased with that. And I believe that we're going to go through with flying colors and sleep on that, thinking that. And that's about it. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's a lot upcoming. So this week on the 4th, we have a personnel policy meeting. The 9th is the work session. On the 12th, we start the morning with Marion County Commissioners Breakfast, which will be myself along with Councilor Kohler and now Councilor Smith. Then we also have West Keizer Neighborhood Association, which meets here at City Hall at 7 p.m. The Planning Commission has moved from the 11th because that is Veterans Day and it's a holiday, and thank you to all of our veterans in our community and throughout the nation. So planning will be meeting on November 18th. I hope all of us noticed as we were coming into council tonight, there was a nice stream of cars dropping off ballots at the drop box out front at City Hall. So it's here, it's open 24/7. So, late at night when you can't sleep and you want to get in your car and drop off your ballot, it is here and it's secure. And so please make sure you get your ballot in. And that's all I have, but I do have a question for Chief. Can I ask you now? So I'm just curious, every once in a while we do some crosswalk, I'm going to call it a sting, that's probably not the right word, or monitoring. And so I'm just curious, have we been doing those? Will we be doing those? And where my concern is on Lock Haven by McClure, the crosswalk that's right there. I walk a lot, and you can stand there waiting to cross, and no one stops. Now, you can be farther down Lock Haven watching the dump trucks go by, because I do that with my grandson, and people stop all the time, and we're not even at a crosswalk, and they get mad when we don't cross the street, but we never plan to cross the street there. So I'm just curious and there could be other parts of town as well, but that's the one I notice the most, and traffic is going pretty fast down Lock Haven, so just asking.
We had a grant for doing crosswalk enforcement, and Dave Day mentioned something to me about 2 weeks ago.
Are you on, Chief?
I'm not sure, is your microphone on?
Come on now.
Now you are.
So we received a grant for doing crosswalk enforcement, and Dave Day mentioned something that to me about 2 weeks ago, and I frankly don't remember if we already done it or if we lost the grant.
Okay.
On the call. But he was keen on it. With regard to intersections like Lock Haven and McClure in particular, those are always difficult. People don't recognize those as crosswalks, especially for something like Lock Haven, where it's virtually 3 lanes wide right there. If your question is, are we attentive to crosswalks? Yes, we are. Have we been attentive to Lock Haven and McClure? I don't know. I'm talking about.
Oh, sure, yeah. Really, Chief, you can't tell me that at the time, I'm kidding. No, it's just more of observation, really. I'm just surprised how many people.
I see it all the time too, nobody stops.
No, that they just don't stop, and then when you kind of do that, they, aren't so nice when you question why they didn't stop.
It's worse on River Road where you have a road like Glenbrook doesn't go clear across, but it's still a crosswalk. Even with 5 lanes, you're still required to stop. Those are just, frankly, just kind of losers. And yeah, the pedestrian we have the right of way, you're still going to lose because you crash.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, we stay put.
Other places like, for example, I don't mean to belabor this, but Clearview coming into Cherry, that also is one of those kind of intersections. And you have trees along that west side. We do pay attention to that, and we stop and educate people.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Always good reminders, especially now that with the time change, it's gotten darker. And I got called out by Carol Dorfler for not wearing my reflective stuff when I was out walking my dog, because I went by her house and she was able to see me without my reflector. So thank you, Carol, for the reminder. But I think it's a point well taken that the pedestrians need to be extremely aware, especially now that it's dark. Thank you. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I also have the upcoming Personnel Policy Committee meeting. We have a Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association meeting this Thursday at 6:30 here at the building and at City Hall. And we would encourage as many people as can come to that. Every month's a new month, and we'd like to get more people there. I've had... In my day job, McNary is quickly coming to the close of the first quarter already. These quarters are coming fast and furiously, and so the official end of the quarter is, I believe, November 13th, so we have basically 2 weeks left. And there's a lot of kids who are not up to where we should be at this point, and we are having some in-person study halls on the 9th and 10th, next Monday and Tuesday. And so if you know a kid who's needing that extra in-person attention, those are available. And the kids know this. Parents should have been called at this point. So the 9th Monday is the 11th and 12th graders, and then Tuesday is specified for the 9th and 10th graders. So, and I've also been having conversations with Miguel Camarena there and trying to understand the Hispanic community a little bit better, and particularly what our McNary Hispanic families are in need of the most. And he was very helpful in helping me understand that and to pointing me to people who, we've talked a lot about outreach and going to people. And so that was a really good first step as to where we can go to better understand these challenges that our Hispanic community faces. And again, it's people of color and everybody. We want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of everyone insofar as we are able. And then, not this Friday, but the next Friday is World Kindness Day. And thank you to Michelle Roland Schwartz for inviting us to the screening of a movie called The Antidote, which will, it's a little vague, but it looks like it's going to have to do with the refugee experience, particularly in Alaska. So I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. And again, happy Veterans Day to all our veterans. My brother is a veteran. I usually take him for lunch on Veterans Day because I have it off. But anyway, thank you very much to all who have served our country, and we really appreciate that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Just a couple of things to add. We did get, excuse me, there was some really good messaging going out right now from the Oregon Health Authority regarding, especially with the time change, that adds a lot of stress to people. So there's stuff going on. We're going into the holiday season, again, a lot of unknowns. So the message from the Oregon Health Authority that I'm going to post, and I'd encourage everybody to share, and most importantly, act upon. We know there's a lot going on right now. Times of uncertainty can bring feelings like fear and worry. These are normal feelings, but they can make it hard to remember to take care of yourself. Self-care is important to both mental and physical well-being. And then they give some ideas on not only how to take care of yourself, but reminding people to reach out. If you are feeling unable to pull yourself out of depression, anxiety, talk to someone. If there isn't someone close by, reach out on the warm line that's available every day. There's also a warm line through Marion County. Of course, if it's an emergency, call the hotline, call 911. The care of ourselves, our neighbors, our family members is absolutely paramount. Keep connected, keep caring for each other, and help all of us with grace to feel safe and secure. We don't want to lose anyone else to anxiety, fear, suicide, or any other harm that could come on isolation and loneliness. So please reach out. Self-care, very, very important. Some other things that want to recap. Last month, we're into November. On the 21st, it was my pleasure to be part of the NAACP Community Conversation with the leadership from the NAACP, Marion County Sheriffs, and other community members talking about feeling safe in our community, feeling, understanding how to continue the way of communicating, listening to one another, and making sure that as we are providing not only public safety, but also other services to folks in our community, that we are making sure that people understand and that they feel connected, and that we are providing those services with equity. I really appreciated being able to be a part of that conversation. On the 24th, we had our virtual and in-person coffee with Kathy. These monthly conversations are wonderfully helpful as I get to listen to what people in the community have to share, their inspiration and ideas, concerns and questions. So I really appreciate folks coming out or tuning into that on Facebook Live. On the 27th, I attended SCATS, the Salem-Keizer Area Transportation Study. The big things we're working on there, the 2021-2022 Unified Planning Work Program draft, Department of Transportation for your certification, and then following up with the Oregon Transportation Commission on ensuring that funds will be available for local programs and projects with local input rather than budgeting low, and then if they get more money from the federal Department of Transportation, using it for their list of projects, which they need, which we need as a state, but also we have needs locally for our projects to get them done for our roads, streets, bike lanes, sidewalks, etc. On the 27th through the 29th, it's not related to my position here, but I am a state employee, so I had an opportunity to participate in the virtual conference for diversity, equity, and inclusion. They had 3 days of sessions, hearing from speakers from across the country, very knowledgeable about various aspects of self-care, language, inclusion, and so forth, that I found to be very helpful. And I appreciated the opportunity to hear from these experts in helping us continue to move forward as a state, my day job as a state worker and as a community. On the 29th, I was asked to be a speaker at Rotary, and I really appreciate the opportunity to share with our Rotarians and people who are watching on the Zoom about what's going on in Keizer and the very interesting year we've had, but also really acknowledging and thanking the many volunteers in Rotary and in our community for their service to helping us navigate these uncertain times. And then I went over to Keizer Village on Saturday. It was Halloween, and it was the annual Horrorween at Tony's Kingdom of Comics. And as I walked up, one of the things that was not horrible, but heavenly, was the huge pile of food that people were donating for the Keizer Community Food Bank. Tony has been relentless, along with Terry Reichert, Mr. Video, the folks at Uptown Music, and all of us, and several businesses around the community, for making sure that they have barrels ready for people to donate food for the Keizer Community Food Bank. And boy, have you, it's been amazing. So it was wonderful to see that and visit with folks who were there for Horrorween, supporting one of our great local businesses at Tony's Kingdom of Comics. Coming up, we're going to be, let's see, the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance Executive Committee will meet on the 3rd, and the entire Alliance Board will meet on the 12th, continuing the work that is going into preparing for not only grant applications for housing and urban development, but the ongoing projects that are underway. Some of them are now open, others are in planning for adding trauma-informed care and services and shelter for people, working toward providing a duration shelter, but the cold has come early. Well, maybe it's not early to the Farmer's Almanac, they called it. So last weekend we had our first frost, and we're looking again this coming weekend. We'll also have a frosty weekend. So please, folks, if you have the time to donate, to volunteer at our warming shelters, your help would be much appreciated to help some of our most vulnerable community members in their time of need, to be inside, warm, sheltered, cared for, and build the relationships that will help them to say yes to coming in permanently into permanent supportive housing. We have seen some successes as more and more people are saying yes, and we hope that we'll be able to house even more people in a very healthful environment. On the 5th, there'll be MWAC, the Mid-Willamette Area Commission on Transportation, working on the 2024-2027 STIP, which is the statewide State Transportation Improvement Program. I have to remember these acronyms. Projects that we're planning out for that 3-year period. Also working with ODOT and the ADA, or Americans with Disabilities Act program, and then the ODOT Transportation Safety Action Plan. On the 6th, I'll be attending Women United with United Way. They're moving forward with the pajama drive, again, taking care of families in our community with a fun but very important and very special gift that people can give, nice warm pajamas for families in need. The Red Cart program for women and girls to provide for their feminine hygiene needs. And then, of course, Safe Sleep, which has done an amazing job providing safe shelter for women. CTEC Advisory will be on the 9th. That's the Career Technical Education Center. And Latino Business Alliance is scheduled for the 12th. Have we heard anything yet? So you will let us know. Okay, thank you. Also, I was looking up, there's an ongoing meetings, the Salem Capital Connections, and I'm going to look at probably the end of this month attending that, which is meets on the last Tuesday of every month. I'll get you that information as well. That's been great for Latino and other minority businesses to connect with business opportunities in our region and with the state. That is all I have at this time. So with that, we'll go to other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tracy? Chief? Bill?
No, not tonight.
I didn't ask you. No, joking. Tim?
Nothing as well.
Mr. Johnson?
No, nothing tonight. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for department heads? They went pretty quick. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Guess that all got said. All right, thank you very much. Written communications, I don't have anything at this time. Agenda input, we will have a work session next Monday, November 9th, to continue to work on the Keizer Statement of Values, Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. On November 16th, the council will meet in regular session starting at 7 p.m. And then we will have another work session at 6 p.m. on November 30th, talking about housing equity and opportunities. And then on December 7th at 7 p.m., we will meet in regular session. Is there anything else for the good of the order? The time is 9:50. We are adjourned.